And it will be a presentation by Mr. Toothaker on the, what's called the REV grant, and we'll explain that when we get to it. That's under presentation. That's the only adjustment.
Motion to accept the board meeting agenda is adjusted.
So moved.
I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Any recognitions this evening?
No.
Consideration of the regular board meeting minutes, April 12th, 2022.
Second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Consent agenda, which requires no action. Policy Committee meeting minutes, April 11th, 2022, and Finance Committee meeting minutes, April 12th, 2022. Moving on to presentations. Presentations by Eagle Scout candidate Ian Cottrell on beautifying the Searsport District High School courtyard.
Check, check.
So this is my Eagle Scout project. I'm going to do the courtyard over here by the cafeteria. And yeah. So this is an overhead shot from Google Maps of where the courtyard is. These are some of the pictures of the picnic tables that I'm hoping to replace. Yeah, as well as build new ones that will be more last-longing. And then this is the bottom part that I'm hoping to put in some grass and redo kind of some drainage a little. And I'm hoping also to take out the walkway and put new rocks down and put some type of protective to make not weeds grow up through the rocks. And then there's a small seating area that I'm hoping to have backless benches put in, as well as refinish the old ones that are there too. And these are what the new benches will look like. The new benches will have decking boards on the top, like composite decking boards. And then that's what the picnic tables are going to look like. And then fundraising, I'm hoping to do sponsor a bench. And so it'd be like sponsor a bench for $100, and then a sponsor a table would be $300. Also a bottle drive. And any other donations would be good to help. And overall, it'll cost about $2,000 total. So that's my project that I would like to do. Yes, they will be. Yep. No, they are not. I was going to ask sometime next week or ask them and see if they will help contribute. Yep, 300. It can.
This is in addition to that, right, Ian?
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll advertise your spaghetti dinner and bake sale so that we can all come, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Have you lined people up to build the tables, or do you plan on buying them already built?
I plan on building them. So the bases are going to be pressure treated, and then the top seats and table are going to be composite decking boards to make it last longer than like cedar or just regular pressure treated wood.
So do you have a phone number or a contact that if people want to donate and
Yes.
and that they can get the money to you?
Mhm. My email is ian dot it's ian dot Eagle Scout.
Can you, can we get that in an email to us too, Chris, Mr. Downing? So we might be able to get that out, word out, so we want to make sure that people can contact you.
Okay.
Thanks.
I have Ian dot
Eagles-
eaglescout.com.
.com. At gmail.com. Ian dot Eagle Scout at gmail.com.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad that you chose your project to improve and beautify Searsport District Middle and High School. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
It's a big project. Good luck to you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ian, very much.
Thank you, Ian.
I hope you'll come back and share the final product with us and your experience through it. It would be fantastic. Thank you.
Ooh, that's loud. So, a basic understanding of the Rev Grant for talking with Josh and Kim. The Rev Grant, the way it started was teachers and staff had to take a course and go through the course with an administrator in order to be eligible for this $250,000, which Searsport was awarded. And what the grant is going towards is extending service learning and project-based learning. In front of you, you have pretty much the grant write-up that they completed. And at the bottom here, it's the Viking Longhouse program seeks to create and expand spaces that allow innovative teaching and learning to flourish, support the development of creative and engaging curriculum and instruction, and provide students with experiences they would not otherwise have access to. It's a pretty amazing opportunity for the school because, as you can see, flipping through here, they've really mapped out step by step an action plan of how they're going to spend this money and what they're going to do with it. And it's all right in here. I know that they have planned doing outdoor learning spaces and upgrading those. Questions? And I'll do my best to answer them, but
Who is the ELCO coordinator?
I don't know.
Because it already has listed a salary on there.
Yep, I'm not sure.
If you flip to page 5, it says hire, so I don't think they've got one yet.
I don't think the actual hiring and things for this is set yet, so, because the money hasn't been spent yet. But this is the plan that the team had to come up with in order to get the grant.
We received approval last week, just before vacation week.
So will we be hiring outside, as this will be a full-time position, or will we offer it in-house to someone?
That, I don't want to give an exact, I wish Josh was here, I know he's
Yeah.
coaching right now. What it is it has to be, I guess the similarity would be that it has to be done outside of school hours, as far as the planning and that. So it would have to be somebody that would work outside of their school hours. So it couldn't be like, it couldn't have somebody within the building taking the time away from any of their, so you could have either. That's what I'm trying to get at.
So in the second paragraph on the second page, it talks a little bit about this. The second, arguably as important component to the Longhouse pilot is bringing in specialist staff to work with students and teachers. The pilot creates the position of experiential learning and community outreach coordinator, lead both standalone and classroom integrated experiences.
And would this be a one-year position? Like one and done sort of deal, or would the district need to take this on after the year?
This grant is for till, and that tells you on page,
Yes,
Yeah.
3 years.
Okay. I'm just wondering if this is something like the COVID grants where we needed to have additional staff kept on after they gave us money.
I don't know that.
Some of the work that will take place will be designed to, like, professional development for project-based learning and for innovative projects, which, what was it, 7 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, Searsport District High School was involved with project-based learning, so it's sort of coming full circle back, and the state had these REV grants and was seeking applicants, but it did require the commitment to go to a class, and that's what we did, and then Josh and some of the staff put together this grant, and we were approved.
I think one great thing about this is it provides an infrastructure for, outdoor learning. So we're able to use this to create and build things in order to move forward with more learning and extended service learning. Any other questions?
Probably next week after we read this, we might
Yeah.
have some more.
There's a lot explained in here going
Yes.
through. There's a lot of it that's.
Thanks, Dan.
And if I could just add, this grant, the funding, and then the business aspect of it did involve our business manager discussion with Josh, and so we have an understanding, because it is a grant, so we have to follow the guidelines.
Is this only offered for seniors, or is it offered for
It's offered for the school.
the whole, okay, I was just wondering what, because it's like 25 seniors.
So will this tell us in here will this tell us, well, we haven't read it, so I guess I really want to read it first, but is it open to everybody, or do students have to meet certain criterias? Is it going to be open to everybody? But as I said, we haven't read it yet, so I really hate to ask that question. So as I said, the next board meeting, we might have some more questions, but by the time we read it, we might have those answers. Do you know at this time?
I'll see if I can answer this the correct way. The first was the training, The second was developing the grant. The third is now going to be the implementation. And that's where we have to get the people, as Max asked, a coordinator to put that down, and how is it going to then be used to make it accessible to both staff and students, which could be, it could be a project that could be a 3-year project. So it would then involve sophomores coming up through. Those are things that still need to be worked out. But Josh is really the key driver of this.
This is a contract that the school district has to sign, the superintendent has to sign for $250,000, so it will need board approval. It's a little bit different than, it's a grant that then contracts with school districts for projects. So it's a little bit different, and we do want to get a board, if not at this meeting, at the next one.
And the reason we don't have that tonight, why we're just putting it as a presentation, we have not received the actual contractual things that would then be read and signed, which, that's where the fine print comes in.
So just for clarity's sake, that's 250,000 for 3 years. Each year it's 250,000. Oh,
The
250 total?
My understanding, which is pretty
Okay,
early on right now, but I understand it's just 250,000 total for the 3-year project.
okay. So that salary you're seeing in there would be divided by 3. Yeah, so all those numbers. Thank you.
Anyone else? Moving on, we have nobody on the public participation. Report from the superintendent.
I don't have any resignations or retirements tonight, so. Superintendent report is, students and staff, we returned from our April vacation yesterday. We're ready to head towards the 16th of June, which is the conclusion of the students' school year. I think people have come back with a refreshed attitude and looking forward. We just hope Mother Nature starts warming up. A reminder, and I'll say this for this meeting and the next meeting, our district budget meeting is on Wednesday, 25 May, here, and it starts at 7 p.m. So please make sure that your calendar has that down. You've probably seen the announcement of spraying the application for tick prevention. This is going to be the 3rd time we've put that out. Was shooting for this Sunday, 1 May. We had to cancel it the last 2 respective weekends. One, because the grounds were too wet for the application, and the second was the wind that came up last weekend. It's almost like we have to have ideal conditions to put that down. So that will be done around the area. We have back in March, we drilled the trees for the brown-tailed moth, so that's been done. So now we're going to do the tick application, and hopefully we'll cut down on some of the natural pests that we have around our state. Again, we came back from vacation. Since our last board meeting, we haven't had any committee meetings. Well, those will start up on Monday, again with the policy committee. And we will reschedule the tour of the buildings, and then we've got a couple dates to bring in the Siemens representatives as well for building and grounds. And those will be coming out hopefully by the end of this week. What I'd like to do is ask the board right now for your preference of meeting before a board meeting or an actual separate day to do the tour. So if you could let me know that this week, just drop me an email. I'll coordinate that, and we'll do the tour of the facilities, and we'll give you an opportunity to check out some of the other areas and some of the things that we've done, and we'll be looking to do this summer. That's my report.
I have one question for you, Mr. Downing. With that tick prevention this weekend, is that going to affect prom in any way?
No.
Okay, good. Just double checking.
I've been around for 44 years. I know in schools there's a couple things you don't get involved with. Right. And prom is one of them.
Moving on, we have no committee reports, we have no old business. New business, this is the first reading.
I'll make a
Policy
motion, can we take
BCB.
them all together?
Requires no action.
Okay.
Policy BCC, BE, BEB, BEDA, BEDC, BEDD, BDFA, BEDG, BEDH, BDI, BGB, BHC, BIC, KDA, and KDD. Next time, these will be brought forth for a motion.
Can I just,
Go ahead.
Chris, if you want to say anything after, please do. What you see is the B policies that were revised or added. We've included those in your packet. There are other B policies, but they did not have to be revised or changed. What we did was we did change the review date. So we didn't include those in the packet. Those are currently in the policy handbook. But these are the ones that did have changes to them.
And there may actually be one or two, if memory serves me, that we are discontinuing because they are rolled into one of these that we have on the page here. And I can't remember what those were off the top of my head, but they're still in there. They're just rolled into other policies.
BE is the big policy. That's the one that has them rolled in. But we still have BEA, BEB, and I think though there was one other that dealt with executive session.
So without opening up the file online, how are we to know the differences made in any of these policies, or which ones may be new?
Well, let me give you an
Because none are highlighted or underlined, or there's no reference to what is new or what's been deleted.
If you look at BCB, which should be your first one,
BCC, BC,
BCB,
yep,
which is your board member conflict of interest,
mm-hmm,
and you look at the second page,
mm-hmm,
you'll see the bold black,
okay,
and then if you looked at BCC,
okay, so it's the bold black is the new or the change?
those would be additions.
Okay,
What I will do to help, and I don't have it right here, I will actually send you a little bit of a informational sheet which will highlight some of those areas.
all right.
Yep, I'll take care of that. I'll get that out to you, because we have it. We spent 5 meetings, policy meetings on these. So I'll get those out to you, Tony, and I'll send that to all the board members, and we'll make sure that it's included in the minutes of this board meeting, so that the public can see the changes as well.
Board meeting laptops discussion.
I'm going to call on Deanna and Bob for this discussion.
So this is in response to your request, Tony, about the possibility of providing laptops at the board meetings rather than have paper. So I approached, you had mentioned that a couple meetings ago, I approached Bob and we talked about a possible scenario, and I'll let Bob take it from there.
Yeah, I think this isn't the first time we've had this conversation.
No. Really, it's just to see if we've got the buy-in from the whole board. We can set up what you need to set up. We have the devices.
That's just my own personal preference instead of, because literally this goes from here to here, and then it goes, for me, goes wherever they do afterwards. But if
So we would be
I
looking.
can sit here on a laptop that's issued to a board member and go back and review something from a board meeting easily without going through this file or trying to find minutes. And really like to save the paper, because I literally look at the agenda, and the rest of this, beside the presentations we had this evening,
And it's also
I've already
extremely,
read it.
it's
from
also
my-
extremely time-consuming in the office for Jane to prepare all these packets, and for the most part, people just pile them up. The idea that, as Bob mentioned, it would be everyone, we would need to be on board, and we would provide the devices at each meeting. We would provide a log-on, so you had access to the board shared file, but the devices would stay here. They would just be something that would become part of the electronics for the meetings.
Yeah, I have no desire to take it home.
Right. That's a question for Bob.
Yes. Yeah, it takes, we need to have some lead time, because you can't just jump on the wireless network in the building. For safety purposes.
Yes, you'd still, just the way you receive it now. And then it would just be available on a board shared file, so that when you were here, as Tony said, you could go back to previous meetings, you could look, you'd have history going back. And we would also be looking for implementation of this starting in July, not in the middle of this school year.
I mean, it's up to the full board. I've requested this 2 or 3 times because I just find this a huge waste of paper, because I've already got it in an email. I've read most of it on my phone or on my computer at work. So when I get here, it's all repetitive, and I just feel like I'm wasting money. I'm wasting paper. And I've sat here before and tried to find an email that Mr. Downing sent on relation to an email that conversation he and I have had, so it would just be easier if it was all right there on that one device. That's
get-
just my preference, but we're
I
a
guess
board
I
and-
just question how easy it would be to access. I mean, I'm kind of old school, I like the paper in front of me, but I could certainly adjust and use it so long as it's organized in a way that I can find things easily. And if that's gonna be just through our email, that might not be so easy.
No, it's proposed that you would have access to a board shared file. So anything
Okay.
that you would receive in an email that pertains to a board meeting would be in that file.
Okay.
If you have private emails between you and Chris, or you know, I don't know if it's called private, but essentially if it's a one-way, two-way conversation,
Correct.
those wouldn't be on the shared board folder. You would still need to access that on your
But I can still access
phone.
them
Yep.
through my email.
Yes.
And it's a lot
Yes.
easier on a laptop than it is on a
Would
phone
you,
that I can barely
Bob,
see.
would they be able to access their email on that device, or would it only be accessing Google Files?
They'd be able to access, you'd be able to access your at rsu20.org email,
Right.
yes. And the
Awesome.
shared drive would be, essentially, the shared drive would replace the piles of paper in front of you.
Yes.
So there would be a folder, and within that folder, there would be other folders that say agenda, minutes.
Yes.
Presentations, et
Yes.
cetera. So that sounds very easily accessible to me. That's
Yes.
what I was hoping.
And you would all have full control over it, which means if you delete something, nobody would see it. Just keep that in mind.
That sounds dangerous. I can go
You
either
can,
way.
you can always find it, Bob. It's just how much time and money you want to spend to get it out.
Correct.
You know that.
I really can go either way, so I guess it's up to the rest of you.
I'm never gonna use it, so I feel like I don't get a say in it.
Does not matter.
So I'll be the egg. I make a motion that, starting in school board year 23-24, the board start using laptops to cut down on waste of paper.
22, 23.
22-23. Oh, yeah. 22-23. That was in the form of a motion.
I second that.
Any further discussion?
That includes the superintendent too.
So. He doesn't have a vote on this one.
No. I'll learn. I'll learn.
She just won't have to provide paper to all of us instead.
Well, you can all print your own at home, but you're not using the school board paper, so we're not wasting the school's money.
Well,
You can print your own off your email.
that's what I did when I first started. I printed everything out because I didn't know it was gonna come to me. So as soon as I got the email, I printed everything out, and then I got here and I'm like, I now have double copies.
So all those in favor? Thank you. Third time's a charm. Date and time of regular board meeting would be May 10th. Finance at 6, central office, 6:30 here for the regular board meeting. Also negotiations, it only applies to Denise and I, but don't forget the negotiations, Denise, 5:30 tomorrow we meet, before we meet with us. What's that? Teacher staff. Motion to adjourn?
Can I ask you a quick question before that?
Go ahead, yes.
What is the, I haven't looked at my email, it was sent out, rescheduled date and time for our,
We haven't yet.
oh, that's right.
We haven't yet.
You are gonna send you,
You wish, and if you want it before or on a separate date.
And just to mention that the board will be signing the warrants for the referendum, the budget referendum, at the next meeting.
okay,
Anyone else
ask for a motion,
to adjourn?
adjourn, so moved.
I second that.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Mr. Downing, what was the date for the final budget?